the snow is definitely sticking around. Looks like a winter wonderland in a lot of places. And what did I read today? It's kind of interesting reading this one where it talked about how there was an oil spill around the area, like in Kansas it says, and people were using their drones, I suppose, to capture video of the incident, but because of that, and I guess other reasons, they decided to issue a temporary flight restriction. And people are wondering, are you doing that because of quote safety, or you just don't want people to see what's going on? This one says, drone no-fly zone issued over Keystone oil spill site in Kansas. Although one thing to note, this article, it sounds kind of weird because they make it sound like the company created the no-fly zone, whereas it has to be, for example, the federal department that actually does that. Anyways, this one here says, TC Energy has established a no-fly zone over the Kansas site where its Keystone pipeline spilled 14,000 barrels of oil following drone footage of the disaster. The Canadian company said in a statement that it did so for safety reasons, but drone footage of the spill, the largest in the pipeline's history, was among the only means of seeing the damage as the site is closed to the press. Even lawmakers were not allowed there for a briefing. Clearing the airspace is critical for the safety and security of the pilots conducting ongoing monitoring and as well as the working crew on the ground, TC Energy said in a statement. Crews are working around the clock on the incident and need to be distraction-free. Again, this sounds weird because it's not the companies that create things like the temporary flight restrictions. I believe in this area, this is the notice from the FAA, for example. It says, earlier this month, the Keystone pipeline spilled near Washington, Kansas, just south of the Nebraska border. So far, TC Energy says it has isolated the spill to keep it from flowing downstream and recovered 7,233 barrels of oil, or 13,877 barrels of oil and water. More than 400 personnel have responded to the site. Drone footage immediately following the spill showed the 14,000 barrels or 588,000 gallons of oil turned Mill Creek black. One former Kansas legislator said oil has sprayed around 80 yards onto this field to the next site. The oil that landed on nearby fields looks like a plume of smoke from above. The no-fly zone was issued December 16th and ends Wednesday evening, according to the Federal Aviation Administration's website. I did look at that too, and I believe there's another one in the same area, correct? So they kind of renewed it for even longer. So again, like based on this article, it sounds like they're suggesting in some ways they possibly said no drones and so forth because they don't want people capturing footage of the area versus them saying it's a safety issue. So would you believe that, for example, where it's suggested in some ways where it's possible that they have this flight restriction because they don't want people capturing video footage as quote evidence, or would you agree it's entirely about a safety issue? They don't want things like distractions and all that because it isn't just a drone. To my understanding, with this restriction, it would be every single aircraft as an example. I guess I wouldn't rule out the possibility that there is something saying, hey, we don't want people to capture footage of this, which would make you wonder too, in terms of things like regulations and so forth. Is it wise to give people the ability to just say, nope, I don't like you seeing this, so I'm going to cut you off? I wouldn't doubt that that's true too, because if you guys remember here in Canada, there was a dispute of sort, like a protest, and the police went up to all these people and they told them, like the news reporters and all that too, stop flying your drones. This is a Transport Canada regulated zone now. And I checked everything, like the NOTAMs, there's nothing that said people weren't allowed to fly their drones. So in that case, was it just, for example, police officers wanting to intimidate or stop people from filming whatever they were going to do afterwards? Alright, see you guys later.